Random House Audio presents Use Your Brain to Change Your Age. Secrets to Look, Feel, and Think Younger Every Day by Daniel G. Amen, M.D. Read for you by Marc Cashman. Introduction. The fountain of youth is between your ears. 7 principles that will change everything in your life. You are only young once, but you can stay immature indefinitely. Ogden Nash. I was recently on a plane from San Francisco to Honolulu, where I was going to participate in a very important debate at the annual meeting of the American Psychiatric Association. In the seat next to me was an elderly woman, Mary, who recognized me from my public television shows. As I was opening my computer to start obsessing over the debate, Mary leaned toward me and asked, "Is it ever too late?" "Too late for what?" I said, trying to get my mind focused on the task tomorrow. "I am 76 years old," she whispered. "Is it ever too late for me to have a better brain?" "Only if you just plan on living until you are 77, I said with a smile, now looking into her pretty green eyes. "If you want to live until you're 90, now would be a good time to start." She chuckled. I relaxed. People like Mary have always fueled the passion I have for my work. "The fountain of youth is between your ears," I continued. "It is your brain that makes the decisions that keep you healthy, happy, and on track to live a long time, and it is your brain that makes the bad decisions that ruin your health and send you off to the undertaker early. If you want to live a long, happy life, the first place to start is by having a better brain." Mary told me she loved my television shows because they were so practical, and she had already made many changes in her life. She also told me about her son, who was a problem drinker, but who stopped imbibing after watching my programs. He saw he wanted no part of the damage he saw on the SPECT scans that alcohol can do to the brain. At the Amen clinics, we use a sophisticated brain imaging study called SPECT to help us understand and treat our patients. SPECT stands for Single Photon Emission Computed Tomography, a nuclear medicine study that looks at blood flow and activity patterns. It looks at how the brain works. It is different from computerized axial tomography, CAT, or magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, scans, which are anatomical scans that show what the brain physically looks like. SPECT shows how the brain functions. Over the last 21 years, Amen Clinics has built the world's largest database of brain SPECT, now totaling over 70,000 scans on patients from 90 different countries. SPECT basically shows 3 things. 1. Areas of the brain that work well. 2. Areas of the brain that are low in activity. 3. Areas of the brain that are high in activity. A healthy scan shows full, even, symmetrical activity in the brain. From looking at all of these SPECT scans, it is very clear to me that you can either accelerate the aging process and make your brain look and feel older than your chronological age, or you can decelerate it and have a brain that looks and feels much younger than your age. Even though getting older is not optional, having a brain that looks and feels old is. It is very clear from our imaging work that as we age, brain activity decreases across the whole surface of the brain. If we are not thoughtful in how we live, the myriad bad decisions a person makes over a lifetime influence aging in a negative way. Lousy diets, chronic stress, health problems, a lack of sleep, too much alcohol, illegal drugs, high-risk behavior, being around environmental toxins, and many other factors contribute to our brain's early demise. Unfortunately, most people just accept a decline in cognitive functioning as normal aging. I recently recorded an interview with a high-level business executive, Todd. He told me his memory was terrible at age 53. "I am sure it is just my age. I am just getting older," he said. "I often have no idea where I put my keys, and sometimes find them in the refrigerator, next to the eggs." "It is definitely not normal," I replied. "I am 57, and my memory is as good as it has ever been. It is one of the little lies people tell themselves to justify their memory problems and bad habits. The denial prevents them from getting the help they need. Tell me about your diet and exercise." When Todd heard me mention exercise, he perked up. "I exercise 5 times a week. I run long distances and am in great shape." Something wasn't making sense to me. "And your diet?" I persisted. He looked down. "It's not so great. Every morning I have a Diet Coke and Pop-Tarts in the car on the way to work. The rest of the day doesn't get much better." Putting toxic fuel in a car will definitely decrease its performance. Putting toxic fuel in your body will definitely hurt your brain, no matter how much exercise you do. "If you had $1 million racehorse," I asked, "would you ever give it junk food?" "Of course not," he said. "You are so much more valuable than a racehorse. It is time to treat yourself with a little love and respect," I encouraged. 3 months later, Todd told me his memory had significantly improved. He also said, "I haunt him at every meal." I am hoping to do the same for you. Bill, age 85, had a typical brain scan for someone his age. He was a retired business executive and complained of being tired. He struggled with his memory and was on 4 medications for hypertension, cholesterol issues, and chest pain. "I hate getting older," he said. The language we use around getting older, as we will see, is very important. His brain SPECT, not surprisingly, depicted an old brain with overall low activity. Through our brain imaging work, we have also discovered a group of older men and women who have stunningly beautiful-looking and functioning brains, and they all have lives that reflect their healthy brain function. Their lives are much more vibrant, energetic, and thoughtful than those with poorer functioning brains. In addition, they all maintain many of the brain-healthy habits that you will learn about in this book. Interestingly, you never hear them saying they hate getting older. They appreciate their experiences and relationships, and they look forward, not backward. Dr. Doris Rapp is a great example. She is an 82-year-old pioneering physician who has dedicated her life to helping others. She has been called the mother of environmental medicine and allergies. She maintains a healthy weight, exercises vigorously, eats a nutritious diet, and has spent her life pursuing learning opportunities. She has a sharp mind and many friends, and she still consults with patients and professionals. I often call her when I am stumped with a patient, especially if I suspect a problem with environmental toxins or food allergies. Both her SPECT scan and her life reflect her healthy-looking brain. If you make brain-smart decisions, you can definitely slow and, as we will see, in many cases, reverse the aging process. In this book, I am going to show you how to have a younger-looking brain and body. It is based on the lessons that we have learned at the Amen clinics. If you follow the steps in the program, you will dramatically increase your chances of living longer, looking younger, decreasing your risk of dementia, and boosting your memory, mood, attention, and energy. I know this is a big promise, but I have seen that when people engage in this process, everything in their life changes in a positive way. You just have to spend some time to dial in the program and make it part of your everyday life. But once you do, the benefits will be lifelong. Carlos. When we first saw Carlos, he was 48 years old and filled with worries, negative thinking, depression, and anger, and he had trouble focusing.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?